Bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-da-da-dum-dum. Hey, good good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where in the world you might be. Thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. New week, blank canvas. Let's tell stories. Let's paint pictures. The squad is back.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Squad Central. For those listening on replay, many of you will because you're watching the World Cup. Welcome to the show. And for those listening on our audio platforms, iTunes, Spotify, and Acast, thanks so much for joining. We are back. Legend is back. Super Kevin Campbell.
Squaddies, good to see you. Monday Madness is here. I hope you're all well. I hope you're telling people all this time since I saw you last that you love them, you care for them, and you're being kind. So, at ease and let's go.
Have you missed me as much as I've missed you?
Are you talking to me or are you talking to the squaddies?
No, I'm talking to you.
I miss you all the time, Soph.
I know. I miss you too.
There you go.
All the usual suspects in the house. Our chief like officer ready to take care of the proceedings this evening. Trevor is here. Runs with Cows is here. Lynn is here. Gooner Russ is here. Still dropping pounds left, right, and centre. Demsec's here. Trev's here. The whole gang's here. CM's here. Everyone's here. And for those that are not, Greek Commander is here. Mind you, the Washington Commanders. How about them apples? That entire division, Kev.
What is it? What they won? 7 out of 7 or something like that?
I think they're 7 and 5. And
yeah, they've won 7 in a row, ain't they? Or something crazy.
And I think it's the Cowboys leading the division. And then the 3 have taken up all the wild card spots so far in the NFC, which is amazing. We digress a little bit, you guys, but that's how we roll on the Highbury Squad. Okay, welcome to everyone. It's been a little while since we've seen you. Different programming during the World Cup. Monday Madness will be here as a staple during the World Cup. You can enjoy it. Get ready for your questions for Super Kev at the very end. And of course, during the show now on Monday Madness, HS30 is your code to get 30% off the ZENITH coin. And remember, I will put the link in the page right now as I'm doing because I just do stuff as I roll. Super Kev, it's the gift that keeps on giving and it's going really well.
Top of the league coin. Come on, top of the league coin. Christmas time. Come on, Gooners, you know squaddies. It makes sense.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. Right. Kev, I'm in a totally different location today because I've got some stuff going on in the house. So I'm in the garage. And, I've, created a little makeshift studio here in the garage. I mean, to be honest with you, other than the no smoke.
Tree?
Yes, that's going in the house later on.
Well, but it's there. I like it.
It's here. Now, Lynn, who I just appeared on Dan's show, right? Took a few days off, but I'm back now. And I appeared on Dan's show, Kev. Before we get into it, Lynn is putting it in because I said to Dan's listeners, if you can tell me what this little character is here, but we'll get to that at the end of the show because we've got a lot of stuff happening. So, Lynn, hold your horses or your sheep.
She wants to win. What are you talking about? Well done, Lynn. You want to win.
So I'm in the garage. There's a lot of light coming in. So I probably look whiter than white. Make of that what you want. I like a tan. I'm just saying. So, Kev, that is it. That's the news. That's all I've got for you. Have you had a good weekend?
I've had a good week and weekend. Been pretty busy.
Yeah.
I was hoping it weren't going to be as busy, but it got busy, which is fine.
Yeah.
And you know what? Was looking forward to Monday Madness, and there we are. So
here we are, Kev. We'll get stuck into it. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone who celebrated. I ate myself into a stupor, and I always do. It's the best bad food you'll ever eat, Thanksgiving dinner. Gravy, carbs, pile it all on like Donkey Kong. We love it. Right.
And football. American
And
football.
How good were the games, though?
All the games were excellent. All the games were fun. All the games were good.
They were good. Now, you're going to want to stay tuned to the very end of the show because Super Kev has two very special announcements to make. And it is to do with the Highbury Squad coin, which continues to just gain momentum. Thanks to everyone who wrote to Zenith Coins, by the way, asking where they could buy the Highbury Squad coin. You can't buy it anywhere. Me and Super Kev decide who gets one. And tonight, we're giving two away to two very special people. So do not go anywhere. In the
Special edition, Soph. Only special edition.
Only special edition. Only special edition. If I get too white during the show, I'll switch the camera angle. But for now, you're stuck with this. So here we go. Super Kev, top 5 talking points, Monday Madness. Oh, it's the holiday season. I love it. I'm getting a little giddy. January, Kev. January transfer window. See, I think this is massive for our club for two reasons. We're going to show one of two things. That we are ambitious, legit, and aggressive. Or we're going to show that we're a club that ticks over, that just does what they have to do in order to keep the books flowing the way the club want. My first top talking point to you this Monday Madness, Super Kev, do you agree or disagree with me? That if Arsenal do not invest in January, they show an enormous lack of ambition.
I agree and disagree. There's a point to say, yes, of course there is. I personally want them to invest 100%. I want them to buy 4 players. That's what I want. I want them to get 4 players in. But if they don't, Sophie, I think we've discussed this before, and I want to go over this again, just because it's easy to throw that we're not ambitious, etc. But what Mikel Arteta and Edu have proven over the time is that if the players they want are not available, they will not bring in bodies just for the sake of it. They are not going to do it, Sophie. They're not. They want bodies. But if the right players are not available, so I truly they are not going to make signings. Do they want them now? I definitely think they do, because they know if they can bring in some bodies, the quality bodies that we need, we've got a chance of the title. We really have. But if they're not available, just bringing bodies in just for the sake of it, Soph, is not going to work with these guys, because they've got the dressing room right at the moment. So that's what I would say to you. You can, of course, we could go on about lack of ambition and, you know, what a chance it was and da-da-da-da-da. But what they've proven, Soph, from January to the summer, is when they get the right players, look at the difference it makes. But because we're in such a great position now, you, me, all Arsenal fans, of course we want Arsenal to invest in the right players now. You know, if a club don't want to sell, make their mind up. You know, we want them. But at the end of the day, so if the right players aren't available, it could be a tough one.
So interesting point that you make, because I was just talking to Dan on his show, and one of the things that came up was the question mark, and maybe it's an agent thing, and I'm not saying this is happening, you guys, or that I want it to be the primary, but I wanted to lob it out to you as a roll on to what you just said, in terms of maybe if they don't get the players they want, which we saw, as you said, Kev, they won't do it. They won't pull the trigger. If they have a plan and a strategy, they're going to stick to that. But let's just say that the players they want aren't available. It was actually the third question, but I'm going to roll it into this one. If a player like Pulisic becomes available for a loan in January, which I think Chelsea will never do that deal with a rival club, but we have seen them sell to us, and sometimes that has worked out. David Luiz, I think, was better than some people say, and sometimes it has been a total disaster. See filed under Willian, who just seems to enjoy West London rather than any other part of London, Kev. Do you say to yourself, here's a player who has Premier League experience, here's a player who's won the Champions League, here's a player who has, been part of a team at the highest level, played for some really top-tier managers. Here's a player who's also injury-prone. But if you can't get those guys, do you make that kind of deal knowing that Saka and Martinelli, as the season goes and the domestic competitions kick in and there's more football to play, you say to yourself, hey, you know what? If he accepts the position for the rest of the season, why not?
Depends if he fits their profile. It depends.
What about you? Do you rate him, Kev?
I think he's a good player, but you mentioned all the stuff he's done. He wasn't a starter at Chelsea. He was a bit part player. I think he's a really good player. Don't get me wrong. But he wasn't the difference maker at Chelsea in those games. So to bring him in, he showed his qualities against England. I know England were poor, but yeah, I thought the USA done really well. I thought he showed that he can play at the highest level. That's for sure. And with Mikel Arteta's coaching, we might be able to get even more out of him. But the bottom line is, does he fit their profile? That's the big key. Mudryk fits the profile. Pulisic, it might, as you quite rightly said, it might be a difficult one to do because it's Chelsea. And after the way we dealt with them at Stamford Bridge, I don't think they want to sell us a waste paper basket, to be honest. I'll be truthful. They shouldn't want to sell us anything. You've already heard people come out about Man City. They ain't going to sell us anyone else and all that kind of thing because they thought Arsenal would take it years. But now we're above them. So the dynamics change. So we've changed the dynamic in 6 months.
Yes, we have, totally. But I don't think he's a player that would disrupt the dynamic. I actually think he's the type of player that would come in and fit in with everybody. I think he's got the character and the personality to do that, Kev.
Yeah, but I'm not saying he couldn't do that. What I'm saying is, do you reckon a rival's going to want to help you?
No, no, I don't.
But I think that could be the biggest issue. If none of our, as you quite rightly said, if none of our chosen targets were available, and then you have to try and get loan, a profile on loan, Pulisic could be a good signing, 100%. Whether Chelsea do the deal or not, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I think it's more about that than the player, because when we talk, guys, about players who have transitioned or been one player at one club and another at another, the perfect examples are Salah and De Bruyne at Chelsea. And when Liverpool went in for Salah, Kev, everyone was like, what a bust. Are you seriously going to buy him? He was a dud, etc. De Bruyne, same. I think we all knew they were talented players, Kev, but everyone questioned why these two teams would go back in for them after their initial spells in the Premier League. You look at our own Xhaka. Most Arsenal fans wanted him gone, Super Kev. And here he is having a revelation-style season. So all I'm saying is football can make fools of many of us sometimes. And I know that I'm not saying he's my first choice, but rolling off what you said about can we bring in those targets? If we don't, what do the Arsenal do if Chelsea are willing to go there because we're way ahead of them and they feel that it's a moot point? Would you personally bring him in?
Could he be a good signing? Yes, he could.
Yes. Right.
If he fits the profile, which he obviously does, he could be a good signing short term. 100% he could be. And you know what? We've seen it happen before, Soph. People come in short term. That's what happened to Erdegaard. Erdegaard came in for short term. It worked out. And look, he's our top scorer at the minute from that position where, and people still are like, I'm in an argument about him. He's our captain. He's our top goal scorer. He's doing bits. So I love to be proven wrong, as you do. You love to be proven wrong on players 100%. And stuff like that. I think Pulisic I think he's got immense talent. I don't think he's had a fair crack of the whip at Chelsea, if I'm honest.
Agree.
Coming into a team that play the way we do, I think could really suit him. Because one thing he's got drive and he can beat people. That's one thing he's got. He's got drive and he can beat people. So being in them top positions wide, I think he could be good.
Yeah.
But as Elliot says, he's way too injury prone. Maybe be no end product because, I mean, Chelsea have struggled this season, especially, or last couple of seasons. But when they were doing well, he was productive whenever he played. So I'm not gonna hold that against him. No, I think he's a talented player.
Yeah, agree. And Kev, you've seen it. You've played with players who shine at certain clubs and then don't, at others and stuff. So anyway, Don one, stop. I don't rate him. Plus, he's American.
And American, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? Don't be so blinkered.
Yeah,
and blinkered. Don't be.
A player, and James Johnson will tell you this. A player called Tyler Adams, I believe, took over in midfield against England, who's American. Brendan Aronson having a great season at Leeds, who is American. It's like, stop that nonsense.
I played with
Matt Turner.
I played with and against some quality Americans.
McBride and Dempsey.
Brian McBride, Joel Maxmore. Listen, there was Claudio Reyna, Brad Friedel. Listen, some quality players.
Yeah. Wasn't Tim Howard your teammate for a while?
He wasn't my teammate, but Tim Howard was a legend. He's a legend
at baller.
At Everton. Really good. So I don't want to hear all this.
It's just nonsense, isn't it, Kev?
It's crap to me.
Yeah.
It's crap.
Yeah. Okay. Kev says that January so far, top 5 talking points. January, if we don't invest, it does show a lack of ambition. 2, Pulisic, not his primary choice, but if there's a deal to be made and he can come in and help the squad and can stay fit, then probably. Let's get to this, Kev, because there's been rows ensuing. What I love about what's happening right now, there's no Premier League going on, but the rivalry is still alive and well among the Gooners and the Spuds. And this whole Jesus versus...
I had a row with one today.
Tell me, what happened, Kev?
No, I had a row. I've spoken to Mark for a long time. Next minute, he's been calling me all day, but I've been busy. So I get back to him, and there he's going on about, we ain't even started playing yet, and we're fourth. I said, who cares about you? I said, we don't care about you. I said, the fact of the matter is, mate, you've got results. I said, what happens when you play poorly and don't get the results? You keep telling me how, you're going to play wonderful, second half of the season. That don't mean you're going to get the results. So in the end, I just kept saying, listen, up the Arsenal. And he was fuming.
Oh, you love to see it, Kev. It's amazing, isn't it? This is what I love, though. We just won't let it go. We won't let it die. This whole thing that I'm coming to you at is Jesus versus Ricci, as they like to call him. Is that what his nickname was when he was at Everton, Kev? Ricci?
Not that I know. I don't know. Richarlison, that's all I knew him as.
Is that just something that Conte said in a press conference and everyone's kind of jumped on that?
Probably. And I wonder if he's tired as well.
And there's no doubt he scored a good goal in the World Cup. And I saw it on a highlight reel, by the way, when I was watching the news. Jesus is not the primary choice. He's getting a couple minutes here and there. Richarlison seems to be the guy. There was a really interesting article about him. I can't remember if it was Phil McNulty shared it from the BBC about maybe understanding why Richarlison is very popular with the Brazilian fans. A little bit, Kev, like, remember how Tevez was so popular and people were ragging on Messi, giving him a hard time? It's not that Jesus has been given a hard time by Brazilian fans. It's just that maybe some fans don't understand why, you know, he's seen as so much more talented and he's been given an opportunity by this coach, of course. Where do you stand on the Jesus versus Ricci? He's done good things in a time where there's a political landscape in Brazil where some players have leaned one way. He's leaned towards people, public, helping. I think his off the field stuff has really endeared himself to the Brazilians in a way that hasn't happened in a long time with the national team. Are we comparing apples to apples, apples to oranges? Do you think this comparison is just inevitable because it's Arsenal, Tottenham, and it's two Brazilians vying for a position in the national team?
They're playing the same position at times. I know Richarlison and both could play out of position, but really it's that spearhead of that Brazilian team. And here's the important part. There was a time when Gabriel Jesus was the number 9 for Brazil. He was the man. He was scoring goals. The bottom line is Richarlison has been doing the business when they needed him. That's the whole, that will, any fan base, especially your country, will endear you to them if you're doing the business for the national team. So scoring goals, you're playing well, you're being a difference maker. And at the end of the day, sometimes, you know, Gabriel Jesus has just been going through a difficult time in front of goal. Not his all-round game, not his touch. Richarlison came off, it was 0-0 today. Gabriel Jesus came on and made some changes, and they looked a little bit more fluid. And, you know, what a fantastic strike today by Casemiro. But that's what it takes sometimes, and it's not always going to work out for you. But we're talking about young players here, so they're so young. You know, they're young men who the form's going to go up and down. Now, you look at the league form of both of them. It's chalk and cheese. Richarlison, that time, he can't even get in Spurs' team a lot of the time.
Right.
Yet, it kind of flips over with the national team. Richarlison's number 9. He gets a great poacher's goal and then scores the best goal of the tournament so far, where he flicks it up and overhead kicks it. So, again, this is just the way these things work out sometimes. Nothing against Jesus. This is Richarlison's time just right now.
And it's amazing, isn't it, Kev, how a player can be irrelevant for their team or not be able to get into the starting 11. And then when it comes to their country, they shine. I mean, look at Ziyech, for example, the other day. Can't get into the Chelsea team right now. Hasn't been able to really make his mark there. Has an amazing, showing for his country. I think that certain managers believe in certain players. For example, you could argue that Kane wasn't fit in the last game. Southgate decided to play with a 70% Kane versus a 100% Callum Wilson or a 100% Marcus Rashford. That's just how the cookie crumbles. Doesn't mean it is an illustration of the player's talent, right? Right, Kev? I mean, would you agree?
Well, listen, you don't know that's the case. That's your opinion, right? Any player who plays for their country, if they say, "Are you fit?" and he says yes, you've got to be more than 70% fit. So he's got to be a lot more. 90%, I could 85%, you maybe get away with it. But 70%, no, he wouldn't have been able to play.
Okay. I just found it interesting how fans were going at each other, especially after Richarlison's goal. The enemy trying to brag, Kevin.
Yeah, but so think about it. What else have they got to talk about?
Nothing.
They've got nothing else to talk about. They're talking about, look at Richarlison. look at Richarlison. They can't even mention Spurs to us.
Yeah.
In the league. They can't say nothing.
It's the same thing where it's like the stadium is the shiny toy and the trophy, right? In that regard, it's a joke. All right. Okay. Talking point number 4, Super Kev. This is an interesting one. for me, because I've been sitting here thinking, what's Arteta up to? You know, what's the gaffer doing? How's it going for him? What are managers like Pep and, of course, January? I think everyone knows what their targets are. Everyone knows. No one goes into January unless there's a last minute disaster or hiccup, Kev, or injury where you go gung ho, right? So I was thinking, you know, Pep so seasoned, Klopp, even though Liverpool's suffering this season, very seasoned. Conte, masterful, seasoned manager. Graham Potter, green at Chelsea, but done well at Brighton. You know, you've got these managers who have a lot of experience, and Mikel, who's probably the most inexperienced of all, but doing so well this season. You've been a player who's been through like breaks or, you know, not traditionally like Europe, never a World Cup like this. You've got the summer where everyone goes off, does their thing. In this instance, Kev, if you can take me beyond the white lines, what do you think's happening? What's Mikel? Is he looking at the next few games? What is he focused on right now? You've got the friendlies coming up. Take me into what you think might be happening with Mikel's time off and how he's plotting and planning right now.
Well, I hope he had a break. That's for sure. I hope he had a break with his family, if he can, to recharge the batteries. Obviously, still working a bit because he's still got to plot. Yeah, I know he's taking the team to Dubai, isn't he? The squad to Dubai. Warm weather training. He done it last season. Doing it again this season. I think the lads who don't go through from the World Cup will join the squad out in Dubai, which is obviously just a hop over from Qatar. I hope he's plotting and scheming on how to improve us. So, if I'm honest, I think that's really important. Okay, we've had a good first half of the season, or first part of the season. The second part now becomes even more important. And at times, you remember early on where there was a little injury to Partey and stuff, and we just weren't the same. We need a stronger squad. We definitely need a stronger squad because the second half's going to be a lot more brutal than the first part. We had some tough patches, but the second half's going to be tough, and we go into a late December, January with some really tough games, and we want to make sure we're ready. So there has to be a plotting and a scheming going on of who we can bring in. Got to know the budget, got to speak to the ownership, and got to speak to some agents. Got to get Edu speaking to some agents, because what we don't want to do, Sophie, we've discussed it in number one, but what we don't want to do is not have done the work so we could get the players in Jan. One thing, if you've done the work and they won't come, that's different. But we've got to put the work in because we need them in ASAP. We don't want to be running around at the end of the window. We want to get them in early Jan, which is what he's going to be working on. Obviously, with the staff, the training regime, what they're going to be doing, setting games up, the training, everything will be planned. Everything. Yeah. So that's what he'll be doing. He'll be planning all the training, the numbers, the personnel, etc.
Yeah, he's definitely a planner to the T. You know, he does not miss dotting an I or crossing a T at all. And, you know, he'll be ready for the restart for sure. And like you said, Kev, you know, I don't know. I just feel like it's like a new season. I feel like coming back from the World Cup, Kev, is like we're starting a new season.
Well, I suppose it is.
But with the point, you get to keep your points.
Yeah, you keep your points, but it's like the break. You know, they always mention the winter break, didn't they? People say, you know, English teams need a winter break. Well, here it is. Finish ahead in going into the winter break. Come out the winter break. You better get you better get moving. You better be ready, because there's a lot of people who want to see us fail, Soph.
Oh, they're waiting, Kev. They've got
They're
their pencils are sharpened. Their darts are also sharpened. The dartboard is ready, and they cannot wait. This will be for them the most glorious of all the seasons where they take the piss out of Arsenal. I mean, this is so fundamentally important for our club that we close the deal. Now, I don't know, Kev, will they kind of come at us, even if we finish 4th? I still think they'll throw the darts. We choked.
Oh, why not? Well, look, let's put it this way. They are going to chuck darts no matter what. There's only one way they don't chuck darts. We've got to win it all.
Even if we finish 2nd, you don't think they'll be...
They're going to chuck darts. I'm telling you now. 5 points clear going into a World Cup, and you don't win it. You could see the narrative. You could see the narrative. The good thing for us, Sophie. The good thing for us is we've got so much room for improvement. We believe we've had a really good start to the season, and it's been beyond our wildest dreams. But you know what, Sophie? This team could get a lot better. And that must be the mantra within the building. We got to get better. We can get better.
Yeah, we're not in 5th gear by any stretch.
No chance.
Imagination.
No chance. We've got to get better. And I believe we will get better, especially if we make some key additions.
Yes. And the bench helps us get better, and having proper cover. I was saying to Dan with Thomas, okay, so it goes into my next one, because then I have a bonus one for you, because, Dan was asking me about Danilo and Tielemans, of course, and Mudryk. And Mudryk, if he is available and the money is where we're talking now and it's gone down from the 80, he's a player that you can bring in and can have either an immediate impact, but he's definitely going to be one that can shine in years to come, right? In order for us to close the deal this season and get to that point, what I was saying to Dan was, we need, the reason why Tielemans is a good option is because he's got Premier League experience, Kev. Danilo doesn't. Mudryk doesn't. Look what Jesus and Zinchenko brought to the table by having that experience. Now, you could say, okay, well, Tomiyasu jumped in right away. Those things don't happen as often. Benjamin White, he had the experience. Gabriel didn't, Saliba didn't. But, also Saliba had to earn it. 2 years of slogging in France, grafting. It's not as easy. Every signing is a risk, Kev. So what I was saying, it's not about January, but the future, right? The goal is every single transfer window, you buy, you build. If you get Mudryk, Tielemans, and Danilo in this January transfer window, holy crap, that makes us stronger going forward.
Stronger.
I mean, you're talking options now. You're talking a totally different ball game, especially when Europa League and the domestic, domestic, we're out of the league.
FA
Cup, the FA Cup kicks in.
Yeah.
So,
well, we've got Oxford away.
Oxford away. The draw happened the other day.
Today.
Not an easy. Today seems like yesterday. Kev, not an easy game, by the way. Oxford away.
No, you go there and don't respect them, you get turned over.
Exactly. So I also there's this. It's a double-pronged question for you, right? There were times where I thought, you know what? Signing Thiago Silva at the back for a couple seasons is a good idea for Arsenal. When we were broken with Sokratis and Mustafi, and Koscielny and all that crap, and then Thiago Silva becomes available, 2-3 seasons ago, I said, he's worth the risk. Cavani, when he became available as a second option up front, worth the risk. I even thought at the time where, there's Lewandowski, worth the risk, right? But Arsenal is on a new trajectory. They're not going down that road. We're not talking Ronaldo. That's not worth the risk because that's like throwing a grenade into the dressing room. But when you're talking about evolving Arsenal, Kev, why not us going in for Declan Rice or Jude Bellingham? What people mistake is not doing big things in the Premier League doesn't mean you're not a big club anymore. Liverpool, 30 years, still a big club. Man United not won it since Sir Alex Ferguson left. Still a big club. Arsenal Football Club haven't won it. Still a big club. We're just not doing big things in the Premier League. Manchester City doing big things in the Premier League. Nowhere near as big a club as Manchester United, Liverpool, or the Arsenal. So why, if we're a team of ambition, Kev, why not us in the summer to go in for a Declan Rice or a Jude Bellingham? Why?
No, nobody's saying we won't.
No, people are saying it's not realistic for Arsenal.
Yeah, but
to
why
be in
isn't
that
it
game.
realistic? Of course, it's realistic. Of course, it's realistic. I think what people fail to remember is just how big a club Arsenal are. Because Arsenal haven't been doing the big things. Exactly. But trust me, everyone in Europe is taking note of the Premier League. Because everybody in Europe takes note week in, week out of what's going on in the Premier League. Arsenal being at the top in the Premier League with Mikel Arteta as manager has got people going, what's going on? What is going on? I need to watch this England. I need to keep an eye on it. So Arsenal's name are now on journalists and agents' mouth. Mm-hmm. And let's have it right as well, Sophie. Here's the other thing. Players, they keep a good look at what's going on. Don't you dare think Saka, Ben White, and Ramsdale ain't getting quizzed on what's happening at Arsenal. Players are speaking to them. Because all of a sudden, remember, they used to come in, they were downtrodden, they were like, fighting between 5th and 8th. Now, Soph, Arsenal are top of the tree. What's going on? In the space of a season, what's going on? So if you're a player, you're like, is that how it's going on? Yeah, we enjoy it. The dressing room's great. All of a sudden, as a player, you think, okay, you take it into consideration. Nobody has a divine right to sign players over anybody else. But what you've got to be able to do is put your best foot forward, make a case for yourself, and hopefully that wins the player. We can do that now, Sophie. We can do that now. Especially, we win it, we get Champions League football. Now, all of a sudden, we're a Champions League club again.
Are we the kind of club now, if we're showing ambition, that we'd pay 100 million for a player like Bellingham? Do you see that?
Yes, listen, I truly believe this is the truth. If you were going to pay 100 million for, who would you buy? Would you buy Bellingham or would you buy Rice?
Bellingham. 100 million% every single day, over and over and over the moon, the stars and the sun.
I'd buy Rice.
Why?
All day long.
Why? Because
Bellingham's good. Don't get me wrong. And he's younger. But the game that Rice has is perfect for what we have, and for what we're gonna need. Because I'm thinking of, he's a natural successor to a Thomas Partey who do things in a different way, but he can control a game himself. You see him; he can control a game.
Bellingham has controlled games.
Yeah, but I don't think they do it in a different way, is my point. Being that holding midfield and being able to control a game, for me, is was where Partey's made a real difference to Arsenal. Bellingham makes a difference because he's a box-to-boxer. For me, if it was me, I'd take Rice. But many like Bellingham. If it was 100 million, I had to pick one, I would pick Rice. I would. I think we've got other players there who can do what Bellingham could do for us. But I don't think there's not a lot of players around who could do what Rice does.
Interesting. Let's see. So I've been putting up the comments. Some people agree with you, some people don't.
Some people don't. Well, it's a pick 'em, innit? You have 100 million and you got to sign one.
There's always one with the pun, Kev.
Yeah,
Bellingham would fry rice. That's very good, Mark. Very good. Very good. Gooner Russ thinks they're very different players.
They are. I've already... Bloody hell, Russ, I've just said that.
Yes.
God, come on.
Matty K wants to borrow my Christmas tree. No, that's going in the house in a little bit. Kev, I think Bellingham has more X factors than Rice. I think Rice is one of those. Okay, so Rice is meat and potatoes, which there's nothing wrong with, by the way.
No, which is exactly what we need.
But Bellingham has meat and potatoes with like a deconstructed meat and potatoes, modern day cuisine. You know what I mean?
Sophie, players who can attack from midfield are good. But players who can actually play that holding role properly is important. Very important. And do it at a high level. They don't come around. That's why when the Rices of this world become available, and Bellingham's unbelievable. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Bellingham's not a good player, because he is a top player. I just look at, if you sign Bellingham, you're still going to need somebody to sit in that midfield.
Why not get both? You want to show ambition? Buy both.
Sophie, the question was one or the other, right? If we could get both, great. But maybe that ain't realistic. So I'm only saying if we had 100 million, then we had to buy one. So that's why I put it back to the squaddies.
Kev, let's say...
Anik, I know. That's what I've been saying, Anik.
So, Kev, let me ask you this question. Not the same way, different way, but... so the rumor's been about Rice going to Chelsea, right? And that has a lot to do with, the past and Mason Mount. And I think right now, if you're looking at where a club is going, like if you want to go and choose and play with your mate, or if you love Chelsea, that's different. But if you really want to go to a club that is putting a team together and showing
going
something
in the right direction,
then you go as a player, Kev. I mean, you've had mates in the game. You've loved playing with Righty. You and Dunk were one of the best partnerships for a long time. Formidable. You don't look into stuff like that. If you're what do you think? Okay, maybe one day I loved Chelsea and I love Mason and we grew up together and we played football together. I know the Hayland, Emil Smith Rowe, Saka. That's a nice story, but you want to win. It's about winning.
He's done that. For instance, Declan Rice has done that. He's gone through the ranks at Chelsea and they dumped him.
Yeah,
they dumped him. So he goes. He makes a real. He's an England international now. When his contract's up, he's going to have the pick of the clubs. Let's see who comes for him. And that's the key. That's always the key. Bellingham. Dortmund usually sell one of their stars every summer.
Mm-hmm.
Last summer, it was Haaland. This summer, it's probably going to be Bellingham.
Mm-hmm.
You watch the teams that's in for Bellingham. It's not going to be easy because these guys are top of the tree. And you'd be surprised who are in for these guys.
Yeah.
All the top teams, especially Rice, because he's a free. Now, thinking about mates and all that, if the club's not going in the right direction, mate or no mate, I ain't going.
Right.
You want to go somewhere where you can win trophies. So if that's what you want to do, you want to go somewhere and you want to be able to win.
Yes. Exactly. Which is why the contracts of Martinelli and Saliba and Saka concern me, because players like that have massive ambitions. They want to play in the Champions League. They're all at the World Cup. They're hanging around with winners, chicken dinners, left, right, and centre. And you have to become a club that delivers that for players. You just have to.
But here's the sweet spot, though, Soph. Here's the bit that you never mentioned. That same ambition to play in the Champions League is now in their hands.
It is.
You see, it's different. It's different when you're looking from afar and you're not in the club. But when it's actually now in your hands, it's a different kettle of fish. Especially after what happened at the back end of last season. The determination moving forward has got to be even higher.
We certainly seem to have that determination that to make last season, to right the wrong from last season. Super Kev, there's no doubt about that. Okay, let's talk about. I've got a bonus one for Kev because I'm concerned about this. All right, so we've done January. We've done Jesus versus Ricci. We've done Pulisic. We've done Arteta and what he's plotting and planning in this next month. And we've talked about our club overall, ambition, etc. So I wanted to add this additional one to you, Kev, before we do some fun stuff as well. I'm a bit concerned. I don't know what you think about this, Kev, but why do Liverpool and Manchester United want to sell their clubs? Now, because I'm switching this a little bit to us, right? I'm not surprised by the Glazers because they're under an insurmountable amount of pressure. It's been turning that heat clock for a number of years now. I am very surprised that the FSG want to sell Liverpool, especially what they've done and what they've achieved over the last few years. I think they've been a great blueprint for a lot of clubs, and they've been really good in the transfer market. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to follow that through in this off-season, and their midfielders come back to bite them in the butt. But two American owners, very successful, Tampa Bay Bucks Glazers, FSG, Boston Red Sox, our very own Cronkies with the Rams and the Avalanche. Does it worry you that they're selling because they think the Super League is dead and there's nothing in it anymore? Where's the next ceiling? Do they see something coming that's going to be a crash? And is there a red flag? For me, I don't think the Cronkies have even started scratching the surface in terms of achieving at Arsenal, whereas maybe the Glazers have kind of given up, or FSG have done what they think they can do. Can talk me through what you think is happening here, and am I looking into my crystal football too deeply, concerned that maybe something in the background has happened Super League wise where they think, you know what, I'm just going to call it quits and I want out?
Well, you can only speculate on the Super League because we don't know. Nobody knows. But one thing I do know is the people who own these clubs are not respectively Man United or Liverpool fans.
No, they're business people.
They're business people. And business people are in it for a profit. They're in it to make a profit. Now, they put money in. They've become successful. Glazers put money in. They were successful under Sir Alex Ferguson, successful under Jose Mourinho. Van Gaal won an FA Cup, that sort of thing. So they've had ups and downs on that side. They've been battered from pillar to post. Glazers out. FSG have had some difficult times even this season where things haven't started so well. So maybe they've judged the market and gone, do you know what? We could actually make a killing here. We could get out and make a killing. Okay, should we put a little feelers out and see what we would be worth? And they've probably put a little bit of feelers out, so. And what's come back has made the eyes goggle a bit.
Especially with Man United.
Because, well, with both, because let's be honest, that sort of money is huge money. It makes them. I think it will put Man United on a par with the Cowboys.
Close.
Not much in it. That's
Cowboys,
what I mean.
Cowboys, Yankees, Lakers, Man United.
Oh, they're all on the same shelf.
Yeah.
FSG. I think that's too much money to turn down, Soph.
Mm-hmm.
Man United Glazers, that's too much money to turn down, Soph. Too much money. And where the clubs are, new owners will come in and think, right, if I put this in, we could kick on again. Because the people who they're talking about, these guys have got the deepest pockets. So these people have got the deep pockets who are going to be buying it for that sort of astronomical money. So I don't think it's anything to do with Super League. I think the opportunity has come. The Premier League's the biggest in the world. The opportunity has come, and the junction is there now for FSG and the Glazers. They could get off at this stop, make a lot of money, and get on with their life in America, and they could look around and see what else they want to do. Or they stay on the bus, getting pelters at the clubs where they are, because we know football cycles.
Yeah.
And they're business people. I know what I'll do. As a businessman, I've got no... Yeah, I love the club because I'm owner. But you know what? All the best. I've done the best for the club by selling it.
Yeah, it's hard to turn down those kinds of numbers. I do think there needs to be a little bit like American sports, Kev, where there's a bit more dotting the I's and crossing the T's on the ownership of clubs.
Well, there is a lot. Hey, you asked Newcastle. Look how long it took Newcastle to get new ownership. I mean, that was painful for them, Soph. Painful. Because they got turned down and it was put off for like a year, and it was a nightmare. So,
and some people are against that ownership, and that's all well and good. I mean,
Sophie, here's the funny thing, Soph. Some people are against that ownership. Let's see who becomes owners of Liverpool and Manchester United.
Yeah.
Let's have a little look.
Stones.
Yeah, let's have a little look.
I mean, surely, Kev, you're getting into a scenario where, you got the two American owners in Kroenke and Bowley, and then you saying that Liverpool, Man United, and Man City will all be owned by...
Could definitely be. Because these are the guys with the money.
I mean, Henry's been touted. I did a segment for Sky as well a couple of weeks ago where he would like to sell to an American owner, but let's be honest, he's going to sell to the biggest bidder.
Well, at the end of the day, Soph, if you put a price on it, and people turn up and say, "I'll pay the price," you're going to entertain them, aren't you? You're going to then start doing your due diligence and finding out.
The biggest challenge for Liverpool on that front will be Liverpool fans, Kev. I think they've got a bigger challenge fan-wise than United. I think United is so desperate to get the Glazers out, they will take whomever.
Well, we're going to see about that, aren't we, Soph?
We are going to see about that. All right, those are your top 5 talking points tonight. We gave you the January transfer window, Jesus versus Richarlison, Pulisic, whether you'd go there or not, Mikel Arteta, how he's planning during this time off during the World Cup. And we talked with Super Kev about Liverpool and Manchester United, and if there is a red flag we should all be concerned about when it comes to why they are selling, and does it mean the Super League is dead, D-E-A-D, dead, in case nobody could spell out there. I'm spelling it for you. If you have some questions for Super Kev, get them in fast. I'm going to roll one out for you right here, Kev, from Mark Taylor. Do you think players at the World Cup are playing games have an advantage on the players not playing? or will there be serious tiredness? I like this question, Kev, because I've asked you before too about match fitness versus fitness and being ready to play a game. And you've always kind of broken it down.
Well, playing games, you can't beat it. Playing games, you cannot beat it. The ones who are just going to be training, they're going to have to build themselves up to being match sharp for the Premier League. The players that are playing regular games are going to be ready. The important thing is you've got to try and get your squad. If you've got players at the World Cup and then players who are down there, you've got to try and get them, the ones who ain't playing, to that level, haven't you? You've got to try and get them where they're kind of close, so you can, when you do put them out on over Christmas, everybody's on the same page. Everybody's ready to go. But definitely playing football is a lot, makes you a lot in a better condition match-wise than players who haven't played competitive games.
Yeah, it's always so much harder because you talk about rest versus, for example, Saliba, Benjamin White apparently got a bit of a knock, but you know, Martinelli, are they in the same boat then, Kev, as the play like Tierney, who stayed behind Gabriel?
Well, Martinelli's training. He got on didn't get onto the game before, so they're training. They're part of the squad. They're constantly training, but they're not getting the games. We need them to get match fitness, don't we? That's the key, match fitness. Because you bring them back and all of a sudden you put them in a Premier League game, you might have injuries. And when it comes to maybe tiredness, we're going to find all that out near the end of the season. Because you think there's FA Cup, League, Europe, all going on, and you just had a World Cup in November, December. Will it catch up? Will it catch up with them near the end? Well, that's what we're going to have to see, aren't we? We're going to have to see. But that's where you've got to be able to utilize your squad.
Definitely. Okay, a couple more here before we do some fun stuff. Don't go away. We're giving away stuff. Santa Kev is here. Santa Super Kev is here, and we're giving away some corkers. Anik, it's more of a statement, but I wanted to kind of turn it into, we've always been this type of club, Kev. At Arsenal, we don't buy hyped superstars, we make them. I do believe there's been a mix. I mean, Ozil was a superstar when we bought him. Jesus, A-star. Zinchenko, A-star. Sanchez, A-star. I think Ozil's the last superstar that we bought, Kev. But with Martinelli, shrewd buy. Tomiyasu, shrewd buy. Benjamin White, you could say, even at the expense that he was now, when you look back at it, shrewd buy. Tierney, whether he stays or not, he's going to have a role to play as the season goes on. Haylenders, of course. I think we're a mix. Are we not? We have to be a mix now, don't you, Kev? You can make stars, but you've got to have a few stars.
Well, I think our track record, we've made them. I think we've made them. We bought Dennis Bergkamp, who was a star, but he wasn't a superstar.
No,
he was a star. He wasn't a superstar. When he came, he was a star. At Arsenal, he became a superstar. Great, great, great player. Had a very difficult time at Inter. Couldn't settle. Came to Arsenal and fitted right in straight away, didn't he? He was a special player. And, you know, became a Premier League superstar and a world superstar. Obviously didn't do the fly-in, etc., but was incredible. Henry was a star, but wasn't a superstar.
Vieira
was a star. What exactly? Was a star, but wasn't a superstar.
No.
You know, a lot of those. Freddie Ljungberg was a star, but wasn't a superstar. Perez was a star, but wasn't a superstar. You know, probably one who I would say was a superstar in his own right was Carnu. Carnu had been part of the Ajax setup you know, with Seedorf and Cliver and all these guys. You know, they were a team. They were unbelievable together. And Carnu came in and kind of added to that, because what he could do was incredible. He was an incredible player, an incredible guy. But he had a following because of his Nigerian heritage, because of what he'd done at Ajax, winning European Cup with them back then, etc. So most of the superstars are superstars we made.
Van Persie was very hot when he came to us, don't you think?
Yeah, he was a star, but he wasn't a superstar. When you score goals for the Arsenal and you win things with Arsenal, your stock just goes through the roof. And yeah, was Van Persie good in Holland, etc.? Of course he was. But then he had to come to the next level to do it in the next level. He became a superstar.
Okay, so we've done icons versus legends in the past. We're going to do superstar versus star, because I think the superstars have to be Henry, Bergkamp, Vieira. And it's hard to say not all the Invincibles are superstars, but not all of them are superstars. It's the difference between when people say great and world class these days. It's just overly used.
Dave Seaman then, Soph. Dave Seaman. When he was signed at Arsenal, was he a star or was he a superstar?
He was a star.
Yeah. And became a superstar at Arsenal.
Yeah.
There's another one.
But Dixon and Winterburn aren't superstars. There's a difference between
no, but I never mentioned.
Players.
But I never.
Yeah. No, I know.
The defense as a whole unit is the superstar. The individual players maybe are not superstars, but as a collective, there was none better.
This is a good example.
Right, he was a star at Palace. Come to Arsenal, he was a superstar.
Yeah, I mean,
we make them.
Yeah, we have. All right, well that answers.
And we're all involved in it. The fans make it because why? Because Arsenal's such a big club.
Yeah, you know, I think the trajectory for some of these players, there's the ceiling's really high for this team. They can be whoever they want to be. It's down to them now, and the manager. Okay, let me get a couple. Squeeze in a. We talked about Bellingham. We talked about whether, you know, yes. But Kev, can we afford him? I believe you said yes, just to reiterate.
I think we can, yeah. Listen, I honestly believe the Cronkies are just getting started. Now they've got the club in their ownership. It's under their stewardship fully. We've seen what they've done with their other franchises. They didn't mess around to put money in, Soph, to win. They did not. If they saw that the opportunity was there, they would go and do it. And that's what they've done with the Rams and some of the other franchises. And they've won. Now it's the Arsenal's turn. It's got to be.
So your answer to Anik's question is no. We talked about it earlier, just to reiterate. No. Okay. Okay, questions-wise, let's end on this one. Do you believe any African teams can spring an upset and break the European domination of the title, Kev?
No. No. Defensively, they're not good enough. That's the problem. Going forward, sometimes they look electric, but defensively, not good enough.
We'll end on a fun one for you, Kev, from Greek Commander. Casey, is it true that when Steve Bold first joined Arsenal, George Graham got you to run at Bold with the ball for ages to teach him how to defend?
That was what they would do. They would call me over from the youth team, and they would we'll do 1v1s, 2v2s, and then he would get the back four to play against certain players, and I'd be involved just because of my physicality. And Steve Bold was like, "Who's Rambo?" And then I come running round the corner, and he was like, "Who the bloody hell's this?" Like, you know. and it would be a physical battle. I knew what George Graham was calling me to do, and that's that. You know, welcome to the Arsenal. You know, and he asked, "How old is he?" And they said he's 16, and he went, "What?" He's 16, and he's like, "Yeah, he's 16." Like, you know, 16, 17 type thing. It's funny.
Oh my goodness. I love stories like that. Just absolutely priceless. I mean, seriously,
I think
Kev.
he mentions it. I think he mentions it, Soph, on the you know, the 89.
Oh, on the
video.
film. Yeah. Maybe that's where Greek Commander got it from. I mean, this is, you're 15 going on 16 here, right?
No, I'm 15. Not going on. I think I've just turned 15.
I always love showing this picture. I mean, that would scare anybody. Wow, Kev. And I tell you, when you see Kev in reality and he gives you a hug, dude, it's like a Marvel character. He's my Rock, literally. Sorry if the Rock does DC Comics. I know nothing about comic book films, but all I know is Super Kev is superhero type in real life. If you've had the pleasure of meeting Super Kev and gotten a hug from him, you will know exactly what I am talking about. Matty K, of course, you're a freak of nature, Kev. I mean, he really is. There's just some athletes, just forget about it. You built different, Kev.
Yeah, that's it, Demsek. The 16-year-old South London thug. You got to deal with him, and then we'll get Alan Smith and Merce to play against you. But you got to deal with this lad first.
Exactly. Tammy wants a hug from Kev, and Don Juan wants.
Tammy, come here.
Don Juan, trying to redeem himself after his earlier comment, wants to know what Mama was feeding you. I'll tell you, it was all good.
Proper good food, man.
Proper good food.
Good food.
All right, more of you joining now, of course, because the football's finished, but we're getting to the fun stuff, okay? So you can listen to all that we've discussed on replay, Kev's take on our top 5 Arsenal talking points this evening. As you know...
Have you noticed we've not even talked about likes?
No, we haven't. Should we?
I expect, so after a week without us, I just expect it to be good.
Yeah, I know. I'm actually thinking, what do you think, like on Mondays when we do the show? Well, now the group games will be over by the time we get to that stage. But I always think, shouldn't we go later? But people will watch the show whenever they want. You know what I mean? But we do love the live interaction.
Yeah,
maybe next week we'll go later. We'll see. All right. So, as you know, the Highbury Squad is the gift that keeps on giving. And Super Kev and I have been working with ZENITH coins, and we came up with this beauty. And it was thanks to ZENITH and Super Kev that we partnered up and were able to showcase this puppy. And from that spawned this puppy that we've been giving away to all the people that we love and adore, and we love and adore all of you. But sometimes it goes to people who have done special things, extraordinary things, or things within our own Highbury Squad community that that we have really had the pleasure of enjoying. And right now, as you guys know, I'm all about the holidays, and I love giving away stuff, and we've given away a bunch of this stuff over the last few weeks. I'm going to put a link into the chat right now, which is our store. And our Highbury Squad store, you can go into it. There's new designs on here. And what we do is we give you a discount. Use code Vinny, you get 20% off. But this store wouldn't be much without the help of a particular person. And this person has gone out of their way to make the holiday season even more fun for us, Super Kev. We officially have a Vinny collection for the holidays. And Vinny has been, he's my baby boy. And as you know, I love him dearly. And Super Vince comes out. You guys wanted the like button. Kev mentioned the like button. We haven't hit the like button tonight. But we've got some new swag on the store. that is especially geared towards Vincent. And it is modeled brilliantly here. Highbury Squad Vinny, and the tag says, hit it, like it, lick it. We even have our Highbury Squad mug. And in addition to Super Kev having modeled the Brocket collection early, here's a lovely lady modeling our Brocket collection for the holiday season too. And we even have the early days, the Sophie, which became very popular with our listeners. Now, there's one man who is responsible for helping us with all of this. And remember, Mark, you can go to the store, put in Vinny, get 20% off. All the money that we make goes to Gooners v Cancer, or will go to our artists who we have showcased on Talented Gooners. Well done, Tammy. It is a great, great mug. It is a great mug. We love it too. Now, the reason why it is a great mug, there's two reasons, and there are two fellas who have helped us along the way. You guys have loved Vinny since day one and since we've introduced him, and Super Kev, I'm going to show the gang something now. There is a young man who helped us with this to begin with. It's the Vinny gift that everyone loves, and he is our Mr. Smash It Like It Lick It guy. The man who created this, Super Kev, I believe, and you believe, deserves something special. What is that?
Yeah, I think the recipient of the Highbury Squad coin and a new Vinny shirt. The man who created Vinny and Vespa gifts, etc., is Matthew Hudson. I think he deserves it. Been with us, helped us when we needed him, and you know, real community guy. And I think he definitely deserves it. And secondly, as you quite rightly showed, couldn't have done it without Nola Gooner, a.k.a. Stephen Feely, who is an absolute diamond. Proper big Gooner as well. And he's the recipient of the Highbury Squad coin for his kindness and helping us create our store and swag. So 2 coins and 1 Vinny t-shirt.
Love it. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Well said, Super Kev. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, Stephen's just been amazing. And Matthew initially was
I'm buying both of them cups, by the way. I've got the black cup. I love the black cup, but I love the Vinny one as well. I love it.
Yeah, the black cup is really, really cool. And little Vince right here. You can get it with or without the hit it, like it, lick it. There's a plain one as well, of course. But thanks to Matthew for creating that. And then thanks to Stephen No Laguna for taking it to a different level. You can sit there in your matching sweatshirts, the gift that keeps on giving, the Highbury Squad. I mean, you know, just go, and if you're looking for a gift for someone this holiday season, check out our store. I put the link in the bio. It's in the description, and it's in the live chat as well. And lots of love coming for Stephen and Matt as well. 2 great gents. Well said, Lynn.
Thoroughly deserved it.
Very, very well deserved. And if you feel like someone deserves a Highbury Squad coin and you want to nominate them, the highburysquad@gmail.com, the highburysquad@gmail.com. Super Kev and I are going to be giving more and more away. There's no doubt about that. And as you can see, I have them right here. They're really beautiful. They come in their box. Look at that. Ooh, signed by me and Super Kev. You get your little polisher right here. Okay. And yeah, I'm very white today because I'm in the garage. You got this. Look at that. You flip it around like that. You got Super Kev signature and mine. It's really beautiful. It's a collectible piece. And of course, we have our Arsenal coin as well. Both of them have, look at that. It's like a wedding ring box. I mean, seriously, what more do you want, people? What more do you want? I'm going to take this one out too, Kev. Why not? What do you think?
Why not? Show them. Yeah. Beautiful.
Beautiful stuff.
Beautiful.
Thanks to Zenith Coins as per usual. And remember, 90 minutes plus 3 added time after the show. You can go and get your 30% off HS30 for the Arsenal Zenith coin. You won't want to miss out on that. Look at it. It's a beautiful thing. It's an absolutely beautiful thing. Matthew and Stephen, thank you so much for all of the love that you've given us and the help that you have given us. And as I said, if you want to nominate someone, the highburysquad@gmail.com, we are all ears. Tammy says, thank you so much, Super Kev. She got her Paul Davis book. I told you we're the gift that keeps on giving, and we just give. I'm going to be doing it all December long. Trust me, people.
Wait, you wait until next month, December. Woo! Get ready, squaddies. I tell you, better keep hitting that like button. It's
Totally.
Lick it, like it.
Kev, we've got the 12 days of Highbury Squad Christmas coming. We've got our I mean, we're just going to do, listen, we love to share the love. And, you know, during this time, we're going to be back for football with our Arsenal on December 26th. But we're going to make December count for the Gooner universe. Big time.
Yep. Feel good, yep. And then get back into it.
Totally. Super Kev. Brilliant stuff from you again tonight. What else do you want the troops to know?
Do you know what? I want the troops to recharge their batteries as well. Just like Mikel Arteta's recharging his. I want the troops to recharge and dream and think big. Don't get involved with, you know, we can't do this. And no, we can. Don't think we can't. We can. Because if we could do it, if we could be 5 points clear now, who's to say we can't stretch the lead? Who's to say we can't? But we all have to believe it and think it and manifest it. If it doesn't happen, so what? When's the last time we've been top of the league? 5 points. It's been a long time ago. It's been a long time ago. So you know what? Let's believe in it. Let's believe. Yes, believe. I'm telling you. Because you know what? It's free. Think big. It's free.
Ev, you're 100% right. And when was the last time we were there for the time period that we've been? I mean, how is it twice City have taken over at the top?
Twice. Yeah. Only twice.
Yeah.
And look, Soph, I know people usually say, you know, City have done the course and the distance. Of course they have. We're not going to deny that. Have we ever done the distance? No, we haven't. But you know what? Because of what happened last season, we're going to be a lot better equipped.
Agree. And I think mentally we're more equipped, right? I think that's the key as well.
Yes.
Okay. That's all we got time for today, people. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay tuned to Twitter and to our YouTube community page for our next live show. Mondays will be here throughout the World Cup. You can guarantee that. We're doing a show on Friday. We're bringing the goalkeeper show back, and look out for a very special guest on that show. A show that I've really been passionate about kickstarting. We did 2 episodes with Michael Price from You Are My Arsenal. He'll be joining me again on Friday for the goalkeeper show. And let's just say that we'll probably have someone joining us who might be a goalkeeper or has had been a goalkeeper even, Super Kev.
Well, that would help. That would help.
That would help tremendously. And that's about it. Super Kev, why don't you take us out?
Listen, squaddies. Sophie here has put this show together on a Monday just for you. We've all enjoyed it. Show her a bit of love. Put a 1 in the comments, please. Put a 1. And are you gonna let Lynn know, please, Soph? Let her know.
No, they have to guess. I'm sorry, Kev. I've forgotten. She reminded me. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I do not like doing that at all.
Yes, you do. You love it.
Studs up.
You love it. So Sophie's gonna do her thing here, but I'm gonna say, squaddies, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being there. We love you. Tell your loved ones you love them, and never forget, we're Arsenal, up the Gunners, and dream big. At ease, squaddies. At ease.
If you can tell me what film this character is from, you will get a Highbury Squad coin. Can I?
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.